Hi Reddit. I've lurked here forever but never posted. After everything that's happened over the last 2 years, I feel like it's finally time to share my story. Maybe someone else out there is going through something similar. If so, you're not alone. My name's Emma. I was raised in what some might call a traditional family, but to me, it was more like a tightly wound machine. My parents were both strict, perfectionist types. My dad ran a real estate business that had been in our family for generations. My mom was a former teacher turned full-time homemaker, though that title was misleading. Her real job was making sure my brother Jake and I lived up to their impossibly high expectations. Jake always knew how to play the game. He was charismatic, athletic, always had the right answers. Me? I was the sensitive one. I loved writing, reading, art, all things my parents considered hobbies and not real talents. Still, I tried. I got good grades, never got in trouble, and followed every rule. But it never seemed enough. I always felt like I was walking on eggshells, constantly afraid of disappointing them. Things started unraveling during my second year of college. I was attending the university my dad chose, the same one he went to, and majoring in business because he insisted I'd be set for life if I followed his footsteps. Secretly, I'd applied to several art schools and even got accepted to one with a scholarship. But when I told my parents, they were livid. My dad said, "You think you're going to make a living scribbling in a notebook?" And my mom cried for days. I dropped the art dream and went to the university they picked. By the middle of sophomore year, I was depressed, exhausted, and barely holding on. I had anxiety attacks in the bathroom before exams and couldn't sleep more than 3 hours a night. But whenever I tried to tell my parents, their answer was always the same: toughen up. You're too emotional. The breaking point came at Thanksgiving dinner 2 years ago. We were at my parents' house. The whole extended family was there, and it was one of those long, formal dinners where you're expected to talk about your grades, internships, and 5-year plans like you're presenting at a board meeting. Jake, of course, was glowing with praise. He'd just landed a prestigious finance internship and was already being scouted for full-time roles. Then it was my turn. My mom chimed in with a bright smile, "Emma's still doing business and thriving, right, sweetie?" Something inside me snapped. I don't even know what came over me. I said, "Actually, I'm miserable. I hate my major. I didn't want to do this. I only did it to make you both happy." You could have heard a pin drop. My mom's face froze, and my dad slammed his fork down. "Watch your tone," he said sharply. "We've sacrificed everything for you." That's when I stood up, physically and emotionally, for the first time in my life. "I didn't ask you to sacrifice anything. You made every choice for me and expected me to smile through it. Well, I'm done pretending. I'm changing my major next semester. I'm going to study creative writing." My dad looked at me like I'd stabbed him. "Then you can pay for college yourself." I thought he was bluffing. He wasn't. Within a week, I lost access to the joint bank account, my phone plan was cancelled, and I received a cold email saying that I was now fully responsible for all educational and living expenses moving forward. I was cut off. For the first time in my life, I was truly on my own. At first, I was terrified. I didn't have a job, my savings were almost non-existent, and I had no support system outside a few college friends. I cried every night for a week straight. But somewhere in that mess, I realized something: I was finally free. Terrified, yes, but free. I picked up 2 part-time jobs, tutoring during the day and working the front desk at a community center at night. It was exhausting, but I managed to pay for the rest of that semester through scholarships, emergency grants, and sheer determination. I officially changed my major to creative writing. My academic advisor was surprisingly supportive. She helped me rearrange my schedule and even connected me with a mentor, a published author who taught in the program. I started to feel like myself again. Over the next year, my world slowly rebuilt itself. I made new friends who actually respected me. I found professors who encouraged my voice. I wrote constantly, short stories, poetry, essays, anything that helped me process what I'd been through. One piece I wrote, an essay about parental expectations and identity, got published in a student journal and later picked up by a national blog. It went semi-viral. I received messages from dozens of other young women saying they'd gone through similar things. That was the first time I truly felt seen. Meanwhile, I kept working, sometimes 50 to 60 hours a week, to stay afloat. I took summer classes to graduate on time. It was hard, but every time I felt like giving up, I reminded myself, I chose this. I chose me. My parents? Radio silence. I heard through the grapevine that they told extended family I was rebelling and disrespectful. Jake sent me a few texts at first, half-hearted attempts to convince me to apologize and smooth things over. When I didn't, he stopped reaching out altogether. I grieved the loss of my family in waves. Some days I felt angry. Other days, just hollow. But the further I got from their control, the more I realized how much of my life had been lived to make them happy. Now, I had the chance to figure out what made me happy. I graduated last May with honors. None of my family came to the ceremony. I invited them. Sent a formal evite, even a printed card. No one responded. But my mentor came. My best friend came. 2 of my professors were there, clapping louder than anyone else when my name was called. After graduation, I landed a remote copywriting job at a marketing agency. It pays enough to cover my bills, and I have time to work on my creative projects on the side. I recently finished the first draft of a novel, something I never thought I'd actually do. Last month, I got an email from my mom. It was short. No apology. Just, hope you're doing well. We miss you. Your dad isn't ready to talk yet. I didn't know how to respond. I still don't. I haven't replied. I'm not sure if I ever will. Some part of me still loves them. Maybe always will. But I've learned that love doesn't mean allowing yourself to be controlled, manipulated, or erased. Sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is choose yourself. I don't have a perfect life. I still struggle with finances, loneliness, and the emotional scars of my upbringing. But every day, I wake up and make my own choices. That's something I never had before. So if you're out there, struggling to break free from people who claim to love you but only do so conditionally, I see you. I've been you. And it's okay to choose yourself. It's not selfish. It's survival. Update: 6 months later, a lot has happened since I first posted this. The response I got was overwhelming. Thank you to everyone who messaged or commented with support. I didn't realize how many people out there understood what I was going through. After months of therapy and journaling, I decided to write a personal essay about my experience, the full story. I submitted it to a few publications, and it got picked up by a major online magazine. They titled it, "Cut Off and Freed: Why Losing My Family Was the Beginning of My Life." It blew up. I started receiving interview requests, and even a literary agent reached out asking if I'd consider turning my experience into a memoir. That's still in the works, but I'm excited and terrified at the same time. A week after the article went live, I got a phone call. It was my dad. He said, "I read your story. Didn't like how you portrayed us, but I guess you told your truth." I didn't know what to say. We ended up talking for almost an hour. It was stilted and awkward, but for the first time, he listened. He didn't apologize, not directly, but he said, maybe we didn't handle things right. It's not everything. But it's a start. I still haven't decided what kind of relationship, if any, I want with my parents. I've come too far to go back to who I was. But I'm open to seeing who they can become if they're willing to meet me halfway. Until then, I'll keep writing. Keep choosing myself. Keep walking forward, even when it's hard. Because I've learned something powerful: sometimes being cut off is what finally allows you to grow.